Hello, everyone. You're all very welcome back to Underground Cinema. Now, as you know, for the past month, I've been interviewing as many of the nominees for the 16th Underground Cinema Film Awards, which take place this Saturday. This is my last interview was supposed to be with Owen Hand a couple of hours ago, but we were missing Peter. Peter's over in Rome at the moment, so this is definitely my last interview now for the month of November. Peter's in a fantastic short film that was sent in to us earlier this year called Medicinal. It's been nominated for 6 awards this year, so it's been nominated Best Short Film, Best Director. Peter's got a Best Actor nod. Barry John Kinsler for Best Supporting Actor, Nat Britton for Best Supporting Actress, and Owen and Alex O'Brien, they've got a nod for Best Screenplay as well. You're very welcome, Peter, all the way from London or from Rome.
Thanks for having me, Dave.
Yeah, no problem at all. When I saw this piece, I thought it was absolutely fantastic, and it reminded me of certain cases that had sort of, there are various different cases. The Vera Toomey story sort of resonated with me when I watched it. Some of the aspects are very similar, but I'm sure when you got the script, what was your feeling? Because I think this part that you're playing, and also Barry as well, are super roles. What did you think of the script when you first got it?
Well, I was bowled over by the story, and I went straight. Owen had given me told me about the book for Ava, that the film is based on. So I immediately went off and read the book, the script firstly was really, really well put together, and the characters were obviously so well defined, and the relationships were it was heartbreaking. The minute I read it, it really struck me. As a parent, but also as a human being who lives and breathes and feels an unjust situation. But I went off and read the book, and it was a tough read. It was a tough read to follow her on that journey. And there were times when, I had to put it down. Looking at my own girls and just imagining how difficult that was. And then, picking it back up and going with her on the journey. And by the end of it, I was bawling. My wife was like, "What the fuck are you reading?" Excuse my language, but it was just, I was compelled to get involved. But also, it was just also such a story of resilience, and I don't a mother's resilience. There's nothing like a mother's love or a mother's strength, is there? I mean, that drives it. Obviously the dad was incredibly supportive. They were there, but it takes that maternal instinct to really go out and do everything that's in your power to stand up for your child's rights. And it sickened me as well, to be frank. It's obviously sickened me that we lived through a time where that was allowed to happen, and that support was essentially blocked and prevented from this child getting what she needed. So yeah, I mean, and I think, sorry, just to keep going, but the real beauty of making short movies for me is that you get a chance to explore stories like these, and you get to give them a platform, because as we know, it's so hard to get a feature off the ground. It's so hard to get script, get the money, and get everything together. So it's a more accessible platform to be able to utilize for the reasons to tell a story that is as powerful and as tragic as this.
Yeah, I agree. I think we've seen some incredible scripts over the past couple of years. I think certainly over the past, say, 2 or 3 years, the screenplays that we've seen over the years have been extremely strong, and to turn a negative into a positive. I think what we saw during COVID, when everybody was locked down, we saw an awful lot of writing that's been absolutely exceptional, and it's coming through a lot of the films. So we had COVID a couple of years back. But over the past couple of years now, we've seen some incredible screenplays over the past few years, really, really strong storylines. This one in particular is very strong because this one's really a story about, a father who's fighting the system that's failed him and his wife and his child. And it's a real emotional journey your character and indeed Natalie's character goes through in this film. Um, it also explores desperation and resilience of what parents have to go through to try and break the system. I mean, I talked to Owen earlier on about he put a huge amount of research into it as well. He knew nothing about medicinal cannabis at all. Yeah, he put a huge amount of research into it, which I was really impressed by. One of the things I was asking him about was the time frame to shoot this. I asked him, had he rehearsed this with you guys, with yourself and Barry and Nat, and he said it was very little time to rehearse. That it was more or less, on the day. That's an incredible achievement because you guys really pulled it off. There's a fantastic scene where you're arguing with your brother right in front of that notice board where you have all the post-its, the stickers. That's a really powerful scene, between the two of you. The dialogue was great. The performances were bang on. He's a great actor to work alongside with, isn't he, Barry?
Barry's amazing, and such a wonderful human being as well. Like, I think, when you go in, like you were saying, and we didn't have much time. I think I was going off. I think I was flying out the day we finished to go somewhere to shoot, and like we had that couple of days, Saturday and Sunday, I think it was, and but when you meet people like Natalie, and when you meet people like the two guys, Natalie and Barry, and I was in school, Natalie was a couple of years ahead of me, so straight away she'd only moved back a couple of years ago, and but when you meet people who are so open, who are so kind of friendly and kind and compassionate themselves, and that's the reason why they've chosen to do it, because it's connected with something within them, that empathetic nature, that parental nature, both parents as well. Not that it's just parents that would take on a story like this, but I suppose it does connect on a deep level when you have children. But when you're working with people like that, all you need sometimes is a bit of time just to kind of have a chat, just to shoot the breeze, just to talk about where you are in life or what's going on, and then suddenly you realize that there's a level of trust there immediately, and you can kind of go to the places you need to go to if you can get there. I mean, it's always funny, like saying about scenes like that and how you enjoyed it, but there's something about acting that no matter how well you do it, like I find, and I'm getting better, but you always come away going, left something out there. It's just the nature of the beast. You do, especially in scenes like that matter so much, especially like when, because the story felt like we were doing it for more than just our own purposes,
Yeah,
it felt great in the sum of its parts.
Yeah, there's a huge amount of responsibility on your shoulders when you're playing a role like that, because you're playing almost real life. There are people like that out there, and you want to make sure that you're getting this right. You don't want the audience to be watching and saying, that guy's never been through. He's never been through that in his life. He's got it all wrong.
Exactly.
So you have a very big responsibility there to get it right. And I think you did. I think everybody did. Yeah.
Yeah. I think you're definitely right there. But I Owen as well. Owen was such a calming influence on set. Like, having worked on sets for so long, as a gaffer, I think he knew how to kind of hold the set and to create an atmosphere of support and collaboration, and never any wrong moves. I think that's a real important part of filmmaking at any stage, is that you can have the freedom to fuck up, to make a mistake, because you have to sometimes fall flat in your face to get back up and get it right, or to make the big mistakes, or to go too far to then be able to bring it back, which is something that I've learned from getting support from directors both in film and TV, where say just to go too far and then pull you back in, but
Yeah.
it's certainly collaboration is the key.
Definitely. I mean, you could see it's a very tight shoot. The production values are top class. Again, Owen's gaffers. So this is lit really well. It looks really well. The DOP did a great job on it as well. There's some handheld camera shots. I didn't even think they were handheld. They were so good. There some really good angles there as well. So it really is a high standard film. The other thing that Owen said to me as well, which I thought was very interesting, he said to me, we did have the idea, toying with the idea of, there are various different stories that are very similar to this, where, the government or the state or the HSE has let people down. I mean, you see it on the news every day where people are battling to try and get, the most basic things. And actually, in Ireland now at the moment, you wouldn't have seen it, but on the news there tonight, there's the case of Harvey Morrison. You may remember Harvey Morrison. He passed away there not too long ago. He's a young boy that suffered from scoliosis, who'd been waiting for an operation for years. Simon Harris had promised that this operation was going to take place. And the big scandal now today is that apparently the young lad was taken off the wait list. So the operation wasn't going to happen. He was taken off the wait list because somebody thought that he was gone into palliative care and no longer needed the operation.
I think I've heard.
Yeah. Now, the Morrison family are meeting Simon Harris, I think, over the next couple of days to talk to him and make sure that this sort of thing never happens again. But again, I found myself, because I knew I was chatting to you guys today about it, I just found myself thinking about Harvey Morrison's family. They're going more or less through the same sort of thing that your family have gone through in this battle, just to get it simple as a thing,
Yeah. Well, that's absolutely horrendous. Like, it's it's so needless. It's so avoidable. That's the sickening thing about both the Medicinal story, that story, and Ava's story, is that if people had just been straight up and people had opened honest lines of communication, and there being transparency, and a willingness to communicate and to listen to other options and other ideas, and when you just think of that family, having to separate. And I mean, the real scary thing, the one that struck me from the script that I remember reading first, was that the level of seizures, that the child was having until the point at which they found the CBD, and then mixed with the THC, how it diminished it to 1 or 2 a day, and that child could sing, could play, could feel free. It just absolutely is unfathomable that anyone would decide to take that away from a child, or not provide the support for them to be able to give that standard of life to a child in our country.
Yeah.
When it's there, accessible, and for what, a fraction of the price that the 12 or 13 pills that they were taking every day were costing the user, the family, the state, and anyone who they were buying it off, the pharmaceutical companies. I mean, it goes beyond any reason.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing I thought that was very, very good in this particular film is, and you don't be thinking about it when you're watching the news. You hear people talking, outside the court, outside the steps, when they finally being compensated for some error that a hospital has made about 15 or 16 years ago, where you've had to fight for for all that time to get justice. The other thing that people don't have a tendency to forget is the financial implications for something like this. And I think that comes across very well in this film, where Natalie has to go over to Spain. She has to bring her son over to Spain. You know, they've got to remortgage the house as well. I mean, the costs on this are enormous. The mental, you know, the stress that is between both husband and wife. And in a lot of cases, husbands and wives, you know, they can easily break up over situations like this. And I thought it's portrayed very well in this film.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that was, yeah. I mean, that was the tragic part of the story in the book as well, you know, and the real life story of Ava's parents when um, they had to be separated, like we were in this story, to Holland, you know, and to where she could get Lisa life. They'd have to do 3 months with her by themselves and keep the other two kids at home in the other story, and try and find support there. And there was more support in a small little village in Holland, or like in Spain in our case, for this child and for our struggle than there was in the whole island of Ireland. You know,
Yeah.
and it just reminds you, sadly, that, you know, the idea of community, and obviously you can argue this in many cases because it's like we do have strong communities, but the community of care for every child in the state has been widely and wildly forgotten, I think. And you'd like people to see, you know, the thing about shorts. I was saying something recently, like I'd love to find a way to get like short programs, you know, to get a streaming device going where Irish shorts and Irish features, not like the IFI, but where we could watch them all, you know, because there's so many strong shorts that we made in this country over the last 20 years. And you'd love to be able to see them, wouldn't you?
Well, we over the past 16 years, we've screened over 5,000 shorts and features over that time period, and we've been inadvertently created a massive database. So a lot of the films that back in the day that were sent to us on DVD, the postman used to be sick delivering DVDs to my house. We digitized them. We now
Amazing.
have a massive library of films going back 16 years, short films that would be in the drawers of somebody's house in the bedroom. And our plan is to eventually, maybe with the help of maybe Screen Ireland or some organisation, is to actually get these online where people can delve in and dip in and have a look at
I
what
think
has been over the past few years.
that's a great idea. Yeah, and there's plenty more out there. But if you got like the majority of film festivals in Ireland together to do all that and create a wider database, it'd be amazing,
Yeah,
because chance for young people to see all the movies that have been made, you know, especially shorts, because, you know, they're so accessible, and it's such a great way for people to start making films, you know, for
yeah.
them to see what can be done is imperative for the
Well,
development of our industry.
definitely. The other thing that I'd spoken to Brian O'Malley. Brian's a brilliant director, and a few other directors as well. That like the likes of Brian had sent he was already a well-established director 16 years ago. I mean, he'd been working with the likes of Liam Cunningham back in those days. And I had chatted to Brian about it there not too long ago on one of the ideas, and I think we'll probably run with it next year. We were stuck for time this year, but next year what we're going to do is we're going to screen a lot of the films that we'd screened 17 years ago in at the festival, and bring the likes of Brian down, or say Mark O'Connor down, or bring some of the guys down to those screenings and get the chat to the young audience that would be in attendance that are just starting off, say the students in IADT, or, you know, the guys in
Great idea.
bring them down and chat to them about the differences between trying to make a film back in those days compared to trying to make it nowadays, and what any tips and tricks that they can pass on, because these guys are well established directors and producers and writers and actors. And I think that's our plan moving forward for next year, is to do something like.
I think it's a great idea. I mean, as you say, you know, all you need is, everyone has a film camera these days, you know. All it takes,
Yeah,
all it takes, all it takes is to get that the quality, and you know, you can make movies on that, and that's, if people want to make movies, just they need to just kind of start with that.
Yeah, I think the other great thing as well, Peter, is that a lot of the young filmmakers that I've been speaking to over the past couple of weeks, they really appreciate the generous support that the likes of yourself, and other well-established actors give. You know, they're very generous with their time as well. They don't forget where they came from, and they do go back to the shorts. As long as the film is good and it's you know, a good team behind it. You know, I've seen the likes of, you know, yourself, Aidan Gillen is very good, Brendan Gleeson's very good. They all go back to, you know, they'll always try and put a little bit of time aside to go back to where they came from, and to give a lot of these young guys a dig out. And it's so important for these guys. Owen mentioned it to me earlier on today. He said, you know, I talked to him about casting. He said, I originally had Peter Coonan in mind, but, you know, I didn't think I'd ever get him, you know. But the script was sent on to you, you resonated with you, and you came back and you decided to give your time, which was fantastic, you know. And that's really important for a lot of these young filmmakers, that the likes of you guys have a little bit of time for them. It's really important, and I think they really do appreciate, you know, an actor of your caliber's time.
Yeah, well, and you know, Aidan would be would be kind of, you know, somewhat of a mentor to me as well, you know, over the years since working with him on Love Hate. So, you know, and as you say, like when you see other people doing it as well, you know, but it's based on a level of, you know, of decency in regards to, and not decency, but also just connecting with something, like you say, like, you know, you sit there, you give it time, you read it, because you know, like, this could be, you don't know what this writer or filmmaker or anyone could do next. But also, you like, I love to do shorts as well, because I love working with young voices, like, you know, and working with young cinematographers, and exploring different shots, having an opinion as regards to where the camera is, and understanding, because sometimes on films like I'm shooting here, you're so focused on the work, and you don't have time to look and see what camera's up to, because you're so, it can be quite intense in regards to trying to get the performance, you know. So it was a great platform when it started, you know, on my first short with Nick Kelly, but it still will continue to do so, because some of the most talented young writers and directors and cameramen and cinematographers and everything are beginning from that point. And it would be remiss of an actor not to want to read, hear, and collaborate with those new voices, you know. Stay young, Dave. Stay young through the youth. Do you know what I mean?
That's it. I mean, I get great satisfaction. I'll watch a film to the very end, the credits. I need to know everything about that film, because I'm terribly nosy. I just need to know. But I think it's important that I keep it. I've been keeping in mind a lot of, you know, actors, directors, screenwriters. Actually, a couple of weeks ago, I was watching The Irish Traders, and I saw a guy called Craig Woods appear on the credits. He popped up as the editor. He was the very first guy that won the Best Editor Award with us 16 years ago. Yeah, he popped up on yeah. And I love when that happens. So when I'm watching the telly, or if I go into the cinema, I'll be on my own at the end watching an Irish film. I'm on my own, watching all the names going up, and say, he did a film about 4 years ago. She did costumes, and I love it. It's got great out of it. Yeah. So you know, independent cinema in Ireland is absolutely booming. We have our panel of judges. What we do on our festival for our awards now on Saturday night.
Yeah.
Our panel is an international panel. They're not Irish at all. There's a reason for that. When we first started Underground Cinema, all our judges were all Irish. I was actually on the panel as well. But after about 6 years, we all became very friendly, and we all knew each other. And all of a sudden, it became like, well, we have to give Peter Coonan a nod. We were in the pub last night. He was great crack. Oh, we'll have to give him a nod. It'd be rude not to, you know. So it was getting to the stage. He said, we have to. No, we're out. We're all out. we've
Yeah.
been dealing with an awful lot of international filmmakers for those first 6 years. So I started contacting them and saying, would you be interested in coming on the panel? And you will have a look at these films and you come back to me and tell me who should be nominated for an award. And they've done it.
Brilliant.
And I've been in contact with these guys for years. And it's a great way to get a very non-biased opinion from a guy in Vietnam that has no idea who, half these people are that he's watching, or the crew. He's
Brilliant.
just watching. He's judging it on. He's watching a really good film. That's all he's thinking about. I think that's a great way to do it. Works really well.
Yeah, that's very smart. How long have you been doing that for?
Well, we're 10 years. We've been doing that for 10 years. So
Wow,
we're
Jesus.
running 16 years. We stopped the Irish panel 6 years ago, or after 6 years, and we now have an international panel. But we still do have an Irish panel, and they judge the international films.
Ah, very good.
We do it like that.
Brilliant. Well, it's amazing what you've been doing. I remember being there with Mark with Between the Canals.
Stalker. We were doing
Stalker.
Really. Yeah.
Yeah, was it not Between the Canals as well? No.
Well, we did that as well. Yeah.
Yeah. That was.
And we obviously did a lot of.
Yeah. When was your first one? So 16 years ago. So 2009.
Yeah.
Where are we now?
25.
It's like. Yeah, 25. Yeah. So right. Okay. Jesus.
Yeah.
So that would have been. Was Between the Canals in the first one?
Yeah, the very first one. Yeah. And I remember Stalker in particular, because I remember sort of halfway through you spoke out the door.
Who, me?
Yeah.
That's because like that. I had to there was a few things in that, like the end scene.
I know. I remember you in the hog on Dave. I've got to go.
Oh Jesus. Yeah. God almighty.
Yeah, look, Marco's like a fantastic. I mean, there you go. Mark O'Connor, that's a great example. Okay, from if you go back to Between the Canals up until what Mark has got done now. I mean, his resume is fantastic over the past couple of years. King of the Travelers. I mean, he's worked on TV as well. He's a really talented director and writer. His approach to cinema is great as well because he used to go out and get the funding himself. He pushes. It's not easy to get the money, to get the finances, but he manages to get it over the line. He's great.
Yeah, he's unique. He's like the Cassavetes of Ireland. But he has a skill. Like he has a drive. And as long as he has a script, his feeling is that anything is possible. And he's right. Yeah,
he is right. What are you up to now at the moment, Peter? I know you're over in Rome there at the moment.
I'm shooting a film over here. I don't think I can talk about it, but it's an interesting one. And then Mark is hoping to make a film next year. His next script. And then I have a film coming out next year called Hokum, which was directed by Damien McCarthy. He did Odyssey a year and a half ago. Did you hear of Odyssey? Yeah. But this is his, it's technically his third feature. The first one was no budget, 50 grand or something. But this is his second fully funded feature. Hokum it's called. So that's it's exciting. I think it's going to be distributed by an interesting company, and hopefully that does well for him and everyone. And yeah, it's always like it can be a difficult industry a good bit of the time. You get this. It seems like I just happen to be in Rome right now, but a week ago I was sitting at home. 2 weeks ago I didn't know what I was doing for a while. So there's a lot of uncertainty still, but it's I do it. I had a moment here tonight now, and why I missed our original call where we were, the director called us in to rehearse for a scene we're doing tomorrow. And it was a great idea to rehearse the scene. But it was in the midst of rehearsing it that excitement that came up in me, where you're finding something between three people, the director, the cinematographer's there, so there's four of us, and you're just, through the collaboration, you can look at the script as people, other creative minds, and other people who are trying to find the same thing, where sparks come alive and you start to kind of feel something. There's a connection, and you start to dig under what's actually going on. And I came away from that just before I saw your email, and I was just like sitting looking at Piazza Venezia and just thinking, fuck, what an experience. You know, I just had that like feeling of immense excitement and just joy, you know, of looking forward to getting in there tomorrow and shooting this scene, you know, because people are just open, collaborative, interested in finding what's going on in this scene. And that makes it worthwhile. If you haven't worked for 3 months, 4 months, whatever it is, that makes it worthwhile, you know. And that's Aidan as well spoke about that. I spoke to him about that before, and it's a great thing that no matter what you're doing, if it's a short at home, if it's a film at home, it's like Aidan doing fucking Dark Knight or whatever, like the Batman. It's about having that same feeling, that same excitement about any script, every time you go in, have that same feeling like it's the first job you've ever done and you might not do another one again. And I just love that. You know, I love that feeling of excitement. You feel like a child. I feel like ringing my wife straight away and going, oh, look at this experience, you know, because it makes it all worthwhile. Like, cause that's what it's all about for me.
Yeah,
And
look,
I had it on this with Owen and the lads as well.
It's one of the most precarious jobs you could be actually in. You know, you never know when the next paycheck is coming from. You know, but when you have a passion for it, which you do, Peter, when you have a passion for it, and when you have those moments that you've just spoken about there, there's nothing. It's the greatest high in the world. There's nothing that can beat it.
No, absolutely, yeah. It's akin to being on stage and connecting with someone, and something palpably sparks between you, you know, and you feel it and they feel it, and everyone is privy to that little moment, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I miss it an awful lot. I work full time as an actor for over 20 years myself. I miss it an awful lot. Yeah.
But do you not do any of it anymore?
The last show I did was when I started Underground Cinema. It was Dracula. It was stage show Dracula, and I was on tour around Ireland, the UK with it, and that was my last one. I did a bit of directing in town in the little theatre in town, but yeah, I started as an amateur actor in 1985. Would you believe it? I turned professional in '91. I worked as a professional actor for nearly 20 and a director for nearly 20 years. And what happened was, I was directing Judgment in Nuremberg in the Pavilion Theatre. It was the Irish premiere of it. It was a very big cast. There was about 25 in the cast and about 15 crew. And a guy came down to rehearsals late, a young guy, and he told me, I asked him why he was late, and he said, I'm working on a short film at the moment, and I asked him the storyline, and he told me the story, and it sounded great. And I asked him, when are we going to get to see it? And he said, well, you might get to see it if it gets into Galway, or you might get to see it if it gets into Kerry, or you might get to see it. And I said, might. So this film might never be shown. And he said, yeah. So that night I went home and I told my partner, Karen, I'm buying a projector, I'm buying a screen, and I'm going to start showcasing independent Irish cinema so we can get these films out there. And that's genuinely how it all happened.
No way.
And we started, yeah, and the rest is history. I've been doing this ever since. But I love it. I'm very, like you, I have a huge passion for it. I love it.
Yeah, yeah. And you were at, where were you? What group were you?
Yeah, the Blue Moon Theatre Company was called. We were based in Dunleary. Yeah.
In where?
In Dunleary. We were based in Dunleary. We were called the Blue Moon Theatre Company. Yeah, yeah. So we were
Okay.
we started up in 91 because back in the day it was very hard to get an equity card back in the day. It's very easy to get one now, but back then it was very hard to get one. You had to get paid work to get an equity card, and you couldn't get paid work unless you had an equity card. It was like so we set up our own theatre company and we started paying ourselves. That's what it was. We all went off and got our signatures for our equity cards. We worked very, very hard over the years. And theatre was booming back then because that was back in the 90s. Absolutely booming. It was fantastic. It was a great time. So, I
the amateur scene. My mom, sorry to interrupt you, my mom was heavily involved with the amateur scene from the from the 70s. Yeah, well, from the 70s, with a group called Sundrive Players.
I know them very well. Sean Cassidy was the set designer for Sundrive. Yeah. The director was a lady out there. Oh,
Una Parker.
Una Parker.
Yeah. So Sean Cassidy was a very, very good friend of my mom's. I spent a good bit of time in his house in Dunleary. When we were younger, our parents used to drag us to mass. My mom would bring us to his mass because he was called Flash Cassidy. Because he used to do his mass in 20 minutes.
Yeah, he didn't do a sermon.
He didn't do a sermon. He just fucking got through it. But he was one of the kindest men I ever met in my life, hands down.
He taught us he taught me how to build sets and design sets. I can remember. This is how generous he was, Peter. I was doing Lee Dunn was doing Goodbye to the Hill. Do you remember that out in the Regency Hotel? Lee was doing it for about 4 or 5 years, and the show was the longest running show in Ireland. And then Lee Dunn contacted me. They said I was doing at the time The Odd Couple. I was on stage doing The Odd Couple. We were just finishing up a tour of it, and Lee asked me would I take over from Goodbye to the Hill in the Regency Hotel and do The Odd Couple out there. That was back in 1994. The set for the show, Sean Cassidy had our set at the back of his house, and the night before we were due to go and build a set, somebody set fire. He used to look after homeless people at the back of his house.
I remember.
And somebody burned down the shed at the back of his house, and it had our set in it, burned to the ground. And we were on stage in the Regency Hotel with The Odd Couple the next day.
I remember that. I remember that story. I remember
he went out and bought a set, and we'd no money to build a set. He went out and bought a set and went out to the Regency Hotel and built a brand new set with us out of his own pocket. Yeah. The man was so generous. He was brilliant.
So he was a saint, and as well, he used to take in a lot of homeless people, and then sometimes he'd wake up and his stuff would be robbed, and but he'd never hold any grudges.
Yeah, you're talking about Sundrive Player there. Some of the best amateur actors I ever saw. There was a brilliant amateur actor out there called Pacelli O'Rourke.
Oh, listen, man, it was his 80th birthday. It was his 80th birthday on Saturday. I was meant to go out, but I was sick. But I have been asked time and time again about who's one of the best actors I've seen on stage. And Pacelli is up there. I've seen obviously, the greats, Stephen Brennan.
I've seen
some of those.
I've seen him.
But I watched Pacelli as a kid with my mom. He acted in A View from the Bridge with my mom. He acted in Juno Paycock with my mom. He acted in Tennessee Williams. He Night of the Iguana. The May.
I worked on Night of the Iguana.
Did you?
I was on one of the crew on it. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Tom Singleton, Una Crawford.
Yeah.
My mom was Betty McMahon. She was in that group. Betty Coonan, Betty McMahon. Yeah.
Great point.
Yeah, there you are.
What a small world, Peter. What a small world.
I know. It just makes me think, there should be something. There should be something to celebrate Sean in Dunleary, shouldn't there?
Yeah. He never wanted to leave Dunleary. He was heartbroken when they moved him from the parish.
Yeah, where did he go? Raheny?
Yeah, I think it was out that direction. Yes, he was never really happy about it at all.
Yeah. Una's got a bench up on the walk around Killiney Hill.
Oh, actually, right.
The girl from Sundrive put a bench, plaque on a bench there for because she gave her time. She gave her time to that theatre. But yeah, but as you say, sorry, that was a booming time. Sure, I was dragged around, not dragged around, but like loved it through Shercock and whatever Cavan, different places, Dundalk, and then on to, if you're lucky enough to get to Athlone, you were in Athlone, the Prince of Wales Theatre or the Prince of Wales Hotel, under a table while your parents were having a party after winning or losing or whatever.
That's right. There was the lighting man was Derry O'Shea. He was from Cork.
Derry,
yeah,
what a man. Yeah. Oh my God.
My God,
yeah.
it's a blast from the past.
Them were days, jocks are. Them were days.
Them were days. Well, look, Peter, I've kept you for 41 minutes. Thanks a million.
Did you? Fuck's sake. Holy God.
Thanks
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah. I really enjoyed chatting to you, Peter. It was great. I really appreciated you taking the time out.
Man.
I hope not at all. I hope it all goes well for you in Rome. And yeah, fingers crossed for you on Saturday night. We'll keep an eye on social media or whatever. But hopefully we'll chat again soon, Peter. Thanks a mil.
I look forward to it. Thanks for all your hard work and dedication to getting those films on screen and for people to be able to see them. It's a serious effort, man.
Thanks, Peter. Thanks a mil. Thank you.
Take care.
Take care.